G'day YouTube, we're in the purpose-built Moto garage for yet another build rundown. Now you've seen plenty of Scramblers through the channel, but none quite like this. Built off the iconic DR650 platform, we've got an adventure-ready Scrambler with a street surprise. Let's get into the details. Now we've built a few bikes before for this client Tobin. You see some of his e-bikes on our channel. This one, he wanted to be able to do long range adventuring and also have a rip around street bike. So starting on the front end, what we've done is get rid of all the plastics off the bike as soon as we started and started to rebuild that with some custom aluminium bodywork. So we've got a headlight grille on the front here that houses a running light during the day, and then mounted underneath is your high-low beam for that sort of extra brightness that you need when you're actually night riding. The front fender is fabricated off two round clamps that go on the fork lowers. These can be actually loosened up and slid up and down the fork to change your wheel to fender clearance, and you'll find out just why we did that in a little while. Right now on the bike, we've got a 21-inch front rim that we've gotten rid of the dual sport tyre and put on a bit more of a heavy Pirelli adventure tyre. This is the MT21 rally tyre, really good off-road spec sort of setup. We've also given the bar section a tidy up. We've got a new set of bar clamps, a pair of Pro Taper contour handlebars, running the standard switchgear with new grips, and our Scrambler mirrors. We've also hidden our front indicators tucked up nice and tight on either side of the handlebars. Now moving down the side of the bike, we've retained the standard header and bolted up an aftermarket bash plate that we've powder coated black. One of the major mods that we did on this thing was swapping the tank out. Tobin wanted that sort of nice classic styled tank, so we've gone with a CB550 Super Sport tank that I actually had lying around in the shop that was in reasonable condition, except for the fuel cap. So on those later model 550s, the fuel cap has a cover flap that lifts up on a hinge. If you leave those in storage and they get water in them, the water sits in there like a little bowl and the thing had just completely rusted out. So when you open the hinge, it basically fell off and the fuel filler cap fell into the tank. So that was all cut out and repaired. So we've put a flat cap with a screw off sort of motocross style fuel filler cap. And then we've also Frenched in our Speedo onto the top of that tank with the wiring sort of tracing through and exiting underneath, nice and hidden. This is a bit of mucking around to do that. It's not too difficult, it's just a lot of machining work and a bit of sheet metal. Another challenge that we had on this one, because the offset is so tight on these off-road forks, we've had to do some scallops out of the tank so you get your full turning circle, which you can sort of zoom in on and check out here. Now towards the back of the bike is where things start to get interesting. As I mentioned before, Tobin wanted this bike to do two things, and that's really hard to do without significantly changing the setup. So what we've done here is sort of build two bikes alongside each other, and we'll go through the road style one in a little while. For the adventure setup, what we've gone with is a racking system that's easily detachable. So you have three screws on either side that hold your adventure racks on, and they just come straight off the back. We've also deleted the standard plastic side covers in place of some aluminium side covers. You don't really see them much as it is now, but when we take everything off, it's like a really nice piece of handcrafted fab work that we've done. Sort of suits the style a little bit better too. Now on the racking system, we've gone with, I think this is a 20 or a 25 litre adventure bag from Krieger Adventure. Then we've got a Yoshimura RS4 that we've tucked in the back here. They don't actually make an RS4 for this model bike, or you could get those super long sort of ugly things. So we've retrofitted this off a large capacity KTM, I think it was, that they actually make them for. Bit of grinding, a little bit of welding and a link pipe for this made it fit up really nice. And the sound that you get out of these Yoshi pipes is really good. Now one of the challenges that our rider Tobin used to face on his adventure weekends was running out of fuel. He used to see it happen to people a lot, and he was sort of stressing about it, because no one really likes relying on the support car that you got with you. It just sort of sucks. So to avoid that, we've hung a bit of extra fuel off of here on the left-hand side adventure rack, and we've also got a tank built into the tail, which is a really cool piece of fab that I'll run you through in a bit more detail now. So if you come down with me and take a look underneath there, what we've done is fashion an aluminium tank that goes under the tail, under that seat section where there was a bit of a hollow before, and then wraps around and down, sort of where that was all plastic off before with your rear mudguard. So we've actually managed to get about 6 extra litres tucked into the tail here, and if I didn't mention it to you, you probably wouldn't have noticed, so I'm pretty happy with that. This is linked up to a T-piece in your fuel system, so you can change over. When you've run your main tank, you can turn that fuel tap off, turn the auxiliary tank on, and that should get you about an extra 150 Ks, I think we worked out. Something roughly. Tobin's gonna have to test it on the fly, but yeah, a really cool piece of fab work that I sort of haven't seen anywhere before, so I think it's a pretty decent idea, and it sort of looks good as well, being shaped up into a motocross tail and housing your number plate mount and stuff too. So when you've come home from your dirty weekend away, hose the bike down and packed your camping gear away, a few tools and 20 minutes of your time converts this bike into a pretty street capable machine. So I'm going to run you through how that conversion happens. We'll have the camera running as we change over, and then we'll come back and run you through those things too. All right, so the wheels are being swapped. The auxiliary tank has come off with a quick connect underneath the side cover on this side, and then we've mounted up our CNC machine brake lens as well. Now let's run you through the street version of our DR Scrambler. So starting with the CNC'd brake light, what we've done is made a custom box and a fender that reaches underneath, so your rear wheel's not going to flick stuff up into your electrics and airbox area. So we've made that all in one piece of aluminium. Is 4 bolts to take it off, which is your seat bolts, and then a couple that mount onto the battery box. We've got a big block of red acrylic here and made a small light box with some LEDs in the back of it, and then designed that and had it shaped by some guys that have a acrylic CNC machining business down the street from us. We've got a complete new wheel set with a custom set of hubs running gold alloy rims. We've got an Excel 17 by 4.25 on the rear and a 19 by 2.5 on the front. We're running a 150 tyre on the rear here and a 110 on the front. This thing handles so much better on the street with these wheels on, and the 20 minutes or so that it takes you to convert it is well worthwhile if you're going to be commuting on the bike or just ripping around the streets for a couple of weeks. Some of the final pieces for this project were the seat, so this stays in place whether you've got your dirt gear on or street gear. Done by Timeless Auto Trim, simple black setup. We've got a bit of gripper on the sides and Alcantara on the top. We've also laid over like an underlay of waterproof plastic membrane, so the foam doesn't soak up any water if you're adventure riding or riding through the rain. Just makes things a little bit more durable, especially when you're using an Alcantara. The paint job, as per usual, Justin from Pop Bang Classics, I took him an idea with a bunch of tape on the tank and sort of a few sketches. The black and gold design sort of came through really early. That was Tobin's suggestion. He wanted to sort of run with this color scheme, especially once we got the wheels set up. So we've gone with like a dark gold. Justin sort of tried his best to match with the anodizing gold color, which he's done a pretty good job, I think. And then the design that I did, it was just sort of like a matter of sitting down. I know Tobin really loves his like retro 80s, like the whole neon light sort of vibe styling. So we've tried to design something along those lines, harking back to motorcycles from the mid 80s. They used to have these like weird sort of striped designs and stuff like that. So pretty simple design and carrying the colors through. And then obviously we've got our auxiliary tank that has that similar style as well. So whether you've got your street gear on or your adventure gear, the design looks cohesive no matter what you've got hanging off the bike. Now, if you've ever ridden a DR650, you know just how much fun they are, especially once you do a bit of tuning work. With the exhaust and stuff, we've had Jesse in-house here give it a tune because it was running a little lean, but now it's firing really well, running perfectly, and this thing is so much fun. I'll give this thing a start now for you guys and we'll take you on a little test ride. Me and the rider Tobin actually got out on a couple of scramblers, so there's a bit of footage there of us ripping through the hills and having a bit of fun on these things. Generally, this is the part where your favourite YouTuber is going to ask you to subscribe to their Patreon. Luckily for you, we're not YouTubers. We're bike builders and parts makers. So if you like the content we create and the bikes we build, or you hate both of those things and just want to grab some gear for your next project, make sure you show your support, jump on our online store and give your bike that purpose-built Moto touch. Thanks for watching and we'll see you next time.